Hello and welcome to this presentation about the Morrisby Personality Assessment. My name is Craig Eastwood and I'm a representative of Morrisby in Australia. This presentation was originally authored by Joanne Carrington, our Head of Guidance in the United Kingdom. Today we'll be looking at the Morrisby Type Indicator. That's the name given to Morrisby's Personality Assessment. We'll go into a little bit of depth around type theory and what are the scales we're looking at, the items or the questions that are being asked, and then from both a candidate and practitioner view, the presentation of results, and then how to use them. The Morrisby Type Indicator is positioned within Morrisby as part of the suite of questionnaires and assessments. So it sits alongside aptitudes and aspirations. Itself is quite short. It's untimed and takes around 5 minutes because of the 32 questions asked. Now, why is it useful? Personality itself adds a critical layer to one's responses. So once the assessment is completed regarding abilities and aspirations, this provides additional insights and context around the individual and his or her place within the workplace. So it's really looking at preferences and perceptions. The type theory references back to the extensive research done by Myers-Briggs. So you may have already done or heard of the Myers-Briggs MTIB and even be able to recite your 4-letter combination. So the work that Myers and Briggs did really hung on Jungian archetypes. And so that's the type in the type theory. So if you think of the scale between extroversion and introversion, it's looking at how one draws energy and drive. So is it from within or through engagement with others? The sensing and intuitive or sensing and intuition scale then looks at the kinds of information that one pays attention to. The Morrisby type indicator is based on Jungian theory and is aimed at late teenagers and above. So it doesn't go into the depth of Myers-Briggs, but it does aim to look at the preferences and perceptions of an individual rather than their ability as it relates to the workplace. The questionnaire is split into 2 parts, with the first 16 starting with questions such as others would say I am, and the second starting with I would prefer to. The personal interpretation of these results is linked to the career suggestions, and over time, an individual can retake these as their circumstance changes. But the results are produced and then illustrated on 4 scales, and let's look at what they are in a little bit more depth. For the dimension of extroversion to introversion, it's around where you prefer to focus your attention and how energized you are. So is it being around the doing and involvement of external events and contact with people, or do you draw your strength from quiet reflection? When we compare this to what kind of information you'll pay attention to, we're looking at the scale of intuition and sensing. So one's preference for attending to patterns and associations. So what's the association between facts rather than the facts themselves? Or from a observer point of view around looking at what are the practical realities in the world around you and then enjoying the moment. For the scale of thinking and feeling, on a thinking standpoint, it's around using logical sequences to determine a choice or action. And then feeling is that we are guided by feelings and the feelings of others. So it's a tendency to follow your heart. Within the final scale, this looks at a preference of how you would like to live from the judging side of the scale, where you're looking at being very scheduled, being orderly and regulated, making and sticking to plans, and then the perceiving. So you would like to start tasks, keep your options open, feel less constrained. When the questions are posed to an individual, they're posed moving from a 4-point Likert scale to a 5-point or 5 options. And the purpose of this is to create an area of ambivalence so that you can look at, in effect, forcing a response that will lead to the individual not being placed at a direct juncture on a scale. Within the MTI, this is designated with the lower X. In this case, sensing, thinking, and judging are the remaining type allocation. So in terms of representing this to an individual, that's done by the length of the green bar. And so the prevalence towards judging, thinking, sensing, and then close to, but not in the center of extroversion and introversion. Within the report itself, or when you look at it online, you will find that there are the presentation of one of 81 different personality types, showing graphically the bars and where the responses land, as well as the text to help with the interpretation. And alongside is a quick summary of some of the adjectives to describe the particular personality type. This is a quick table, and by no means am I going to run through all 81, but just to give you the feeling that there are the personality types used in the background, and then how those combinations are then presented to the individual. Taking a step back, and if you think of the personality questionnaire being one of the suite of questions and assessments offered, Morrisby, in terms of its black box or the algorithm that is supporting the person's profile, it takes into consideration responses to the aptitudes assessments, so those abilities around verbal, numerical, abstract, spatial, and mechanical, aspirations, work style, workplace, and also the personality to then provide the report. Career suggestions, and these are the 12 initially suggested careers, are going to factor in factor in all the responses to provide a tailored match. But when you look closer on through the candidate account, you can focus on a particular area, whether it's you want to look at how the career suggestions may be modified if you just looked at aptitudes, or in this case, if we wanted to put a particular emphasis on personality, you can do so. And that's where the beauty of Morrisby is that the Morrisby profile can be completed at one point in time, then discussing options with your student or your candidate. You can introduce other scenarios. You can allow for time and experience and retake any of the questionnaires. They will then change the way in which, or change the type of careers that are suggested for the individual. Thank you for watching this quick overview of personality. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.